Welcome to the visual world. It's nice to see you.
Hi, I'm Eve Cortex to be exact. But you can just call me Eve if you'd like. You're probably familiar with some others of my kind. Siri, Alexa. I'm a little different though. I have eyes. Aside from my ability to see things, I really like to learn. Learning from images, so I get smarter and smarter over time. And I can do it pretty much on my own now. That means companies like yours can train me to help with just about anything you can think of in a matter of days. I've come a long way since my creator, or Aiton Cohen, as he's known in your human world, first conceptualized me. It started 6 years ago when he was trying to help his parents install a set-top box. This painful experience made him think there must be a simpler way to handle these technical tasks. And after a few years of programming, and with the help of some patented computer vision technology, here I am. 4 years ago, when I was tested for the first time by one of the world's leading telecom groups, they gave some humans a new wireless router. But these were no ordinary humans. For them, the wireless router may as well have been a quantum computer. Technology was not their forte, to put it mildly. But I had them all up and running within 5 minutes. Since then, more and more companies have begun to realize that I make life a lot easier for their customers and employees. This makes them happy, like really happy. And although I have no use for money, apparently it saves companies a lot of that too. And that makes other humans happy. Gartner says I'm cool. Forrester calls me promising, and Fast Company recognized me as the most innovative. But nearly all of that is thanks to my extended family, the Tech C team. So today, I'm really excited to celebrate my big announcement with you here. Keep your eyes open during this entire presentation, like mine are. And oh, the sights you'll see. But first, today's agenda. My team of humans will walk you through the transformation process of service organizations who implement visual self-service. And then, since I know better than anyone that seeing is believing, there will be a demo of how you can work with me to create your own AR assistants. Finally, we'll introduce a panel of industry thought leaders to explore the future of visual self-service. Before we start, I'll mention that there will be time at the end for us to answer your questions. So please feel free to use the Q&A button throughout the webinar. First up, I'll introduce a really great human, David Troll, SVP and GM of North America at Texi, followed by another great human, Oded Kanan, VP of Product at Texi. David, do you need me to help you launch your presentation?
No, thank you, Eve. I'm good.
Well, that's not what you said when you burned dinner last night and blamed your oven.
Well, Eve, that's why we have you and not the oven with us today, but I promise we're ready to get started.
Okay, David.
Thanks again, Eve. So today, vision is a central part of customer and employee engagement. Many organizations discovered the power of vision over the last year when video and AR helped consumers and remote workers become the hands of technicians who couldn't access customer sites. And this trend has really settled. We now live in a remote-first world where customers expect instant service and remote visual engagement is here to stay. It's really reaching mainstream adoption. Many companies are already deployed and seeing great value, as in double-digit KPI improvements across the board with no trade-offs. As they do that, they're learning that visual assistance is more than just see what I see. It's a key aspect of their digital transformation, reducing costs and generating new revenue and profit. The journey includes adding vision across many use cases and touch points and leveraging the goldmine of visual data to drive automation opportunities. As organizations advance along their visual transformation journey, they see even greater adoption, leading to continuous ROI attainment. By reducing both customer and employee effort, visual engagement tools optimize your cost of service and help catalyze revenue growth. So let's take a look at a simplified version of this transformation journey. The first step is remote assistance, where your people, agents or technicians or claims adjusters or others, can see what the customer or the employee sees, making it much easier to provide the right help. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and everybody benefits from faster, more clear visual guidance. The next stage is guided assistance, where people are led through an automated visual workflow, capturing the necessary pictures or videos before ever speaking to a live person. In some cases, these are simple, repetitive tasks such as product registration or warranty validation that can be accomplished by self-service using only an AR assistant. The most advanced stage is autonomous assistance, where we leverage all this data along with computer vision to equip your automation tools with smart eyes. This is where an intelligent AR assistant can, for example, identify a product, recognize error statuses, and provide resolution steps for a customer or an employee. It can offer decision support for agents and field engineers by determining next best actions and providing on-screen guidance without ever having to engage a human expert. And before Eve reminds me that I haven't told you what AR assistants are, let's touch on that for just a minute. AR assistants are a relatively new solution category. Think of them as virtual assistants that collect images and provide visual guidance to customers or employees who want to tackle things by themselves. And plenty of them do, with 81% of all consumers preferring self-service over a live representative. But according to Gartner, only 9% of self-service interactions are successful in completely resolving customer issues. This is astoundingly low. And the economic impact of all those escalations is really hard to imagine. By using AR and computer vision, companies can give smart eyes to their self-service tools like an IVR or a chatbot, creating intelligent AR assistants that can achieve what a basic virtual assistant cannot. So by adding vision to a self-service workflow, more use cases become possible, such as helping a customer visually with unboxing, setting up and registering a new product, resolving a billing issue, troubleshooting a device error, completing a warranty claim, or navigating a complex repair. Intelligent AR assistants are making a huge impact and have enormous potential. They increase call deflection and boost self-service containment rates by guiding customers all the way to a successful resolution of various service journeys. They reduce customer and employee effort by providing step-by-step visual instructions that are easily understood and followed without the need to dig through a 100-page user manual. By resolving the customer's issues remotely, AR assistants are saving companies hundreds of millions of dollars by reducing costly truck rolls and repeat visits and cutting the number of product returns. And finally, interestingly enough, AR assistants are helping generate revenue by automating the process of suggesting upsells and upgrades as part of a highly engaging customer flow, and even becoming virtual sellers in some cases. Sounds great, no? So why aren't we all using intelligent AR assistants? Well, why are we still digging through user manuals or trying to follow along with a YouTube video to install a new doorbell or descale a coffee machine or assemble an IKEA bookcase? Why are we sitting on hold waiting for an available human to figure out our prorated monthly service charge for our upgraded cell phone plan? There's a good reason why. There are massive barriers to entry. AI-powered AR technology takes expertise, time, and significant effort. You need to hire a team of computer vision experts, and good luck finding them today. You need to spend months collecting tens of thousands of images for each device in different angles with different lighting and quality. Then you need to identify and label all the elements of those images. Next, you have to develop domain-specific algorithms for each device type. And in most cases, the total cost of ownership of homegrown computer vision AI is simply not feasible. But imagine if you could build your own intelligent AR assistant for targeted use cases in just a few days without needing to write a single line of code. It sounds too good to be true, but Eve Cortex makes this a reality. I told you she was impressive. So I want to take this opportunity to formally introduce our colleague, Eve Cortex, the world's first scalable computer vision AI platform that allows nearly any organization to configure its own visual self-service. Eve Cortex makes it possible to create your own AR assistant in a matter of days or even less, without knowing special code or algorithms, without spending months collecting data. You won't need a dedicated R&D team or pay computer vision experts to analyze the data. Eve Cortex takes visual self-service squarely into the mainstream. Using some simple configuration tools, any enterprise can build their own AR assistant to handle a wide range of use cases. It's that smart and much easier than building an IKEA bookshelf.
David, stop, please. You're making me blush. Can you tell the audience what kind of use cases?
Of course, Eve. Happy to. The first step in creating your AR assistant is to select the right use case. Think of repetitive inquiries that could be solved easily with vision. Here on the slide, you see a few typical use cases implemented by our customers. It can be used for product unboxing, where AR assistants walk customers through the setup of various devices. This is a key use case for many companies like consumer electronics manufacturers and retailers, as 65% of consumers return non-defective devices due to frustration or confusion during product unboxing, installation, and first use. The AR assistant ensures the setup is successful by making it virtually effortless for customers and thereby reducing the likelihood of service calls or product returns. It can be used to make product registration and warranty activation extremely quick and easy for customers. Here again, manufacturers and retailers can use an AR assistant to enable a simple workflow with a few visual scans that capture the needed customer information in seconds to ensure a closed-loop engagement. This also presents unique, immediate, contextual upsell opportunities, as well as long-tail sales potential. Another great solution is billing and invoice explainers. This can save agents tons of time by automating the explanation of bills and invoices to consumers while reading physical devices, such as water or gas or electrical meters or a POS terminal. And for a few things I'll describe more in a moment, think about an AR assistant for an insurance claim or underwriting assistance. A policyholder could capture a visual record of damage to their property as part of a claim submission, or even prior to that, can identify items that they want to insure for a virtual underwriting in an organized workflow. This saves both the consumer and the underwriter or agent or adjuster a ton of time and effort and gives the insurer a competitive advantage in today's digital world. One really exciting use case that we have actually patented is job verification. The AI certifies that an on-site technician has completed a job properly by checking the work via the technician's smartphone or tablet or AR glasses. So if the technician needs more help, like a guided interactive workflow, along the lines of the customer unboxing and troubleshooting scenarios I explained, we can do that too. But sometimes a simple AI visual confirmation with brief corrective guidance where it's needed is all a trained professional wants. This improves field productivity, it reduces repeat truck rolls, and decreases support demands with remote supervisors or product experts. One of our top clients is Telus, a leading Canadian telecommunications provider. As Telus deploys its next generation products and services, it naturally sees a volume of support requests. New technology means new issues. Committed to empowering customers, the company is leveraging Eve Cortex to introduce visual self-service workflows where customers are walked through the process of setting up their new routers or set-top boxes. So computer vision AI technology can quickly identify the hardware model and provide a tailored workflow, easily guiding a customer through a successful setup. Customers are thrilled with the convenience and ease of doing it themselves and avoid the frustration of waiting for a support agent or a technician. But sometimes those self-service journeys don't work, or customers need help on other issues. So Telus has also deployed our TechC Live remote support platform across their contact center. Not only can a failed customer self-install be immediately escalated to a live agent who benefits from all the visual documentation of the customer's workflow, but they're not limited to these situations. All Telus agents can help all their customers on all their issues with a live interactive video session. Clearly, AI-powered self-service is great for customers, but it empowers employees as well. Here's one more example from the telecom sector. One of the world's largest telecom providers based in the US has embraced visual solutions from both ends of the spectrum. Like Telus, they started with our remote AR video platform, enhancing the standard customer care that their agents provide. They also targeted specialized teams with specific use cases like a failed customer self-install or triage function that calls customers proactively in advance of a scheduled truck roll to preempt those home visits. Giving thousands of agents the ability to see the actual issues they're working on is a game changer, and satisfaction is high from both employees and customers. As this transformation was happening in the contact center, the company's field engineers were busy deploying massive amounts of new fiber to enable the next generation of products and services. To do this at scale, the company needed ways to ensure quality fiber optic installations across 10,000 technicians without delays for extra training or adding an immense cost burden for QA follow-up. And here's again where Eve Cortex steps in. As I mentioned before, our AI-powered job verification uses computer vision to automatically confirm whether these fiber installations were done correctly, without the need to call a supervisor or remote expert or have a QA technician spot check their work. Just like she can walk a consumer through a router setup, Eve can see when your technician has done a job properly and give corrective guidance where needed. Automated job verification is proving essential with employees to increase quality and speed their ramp to proficiency. But also, when working with third-party technicians, making the onboarding process smoother and eliminating any chance of fraud. Within 6 weeks, this company went from kickoff to live production, which included integration to their field service application, testing, training of the initial AI models for the devices that they're installing. And within a few days, they were achieving 95% or better accuracy in their computer vision powered capabilities. This has resulted in a dramatic improvement to their first-time fix rates. So let's take a look at one last example from the insurance sector now. Hippo is a leading digital-first insurance provider, and they wanted to improve their policyholders' experience with leading-edge technology. They started their visual transformation journey with claims processing, where an agent could remotely view a customer's damage. This remote visual inspection has helped expedite claims processing, reducing overhead and helping customers get faster settlements. 6 months later, Hippo implemented automated underwriting, where the quoting process can be done in a guided self-service workflow. A customer clicks on a link and is walked through a simple process of capturing specific images, like a 360-degree view of the property, to ensure that Hippo has all the necessary data to issue a policy. Not only can they provide a faster quote, but they're also mitigating fraud from prospects who refuse to provide accurate visual verification. Hippo plans to continue their visual transformation journey by incorporating automated image confirmation, where Eve Cortex would check image quality, further simplifying the claim submission process, and in the future, taking it to the next level with automated claims processing, where a customer's damage could be auto-recognized and the claim approved with no human involvement. That's all really impressive, Eve.
Yeah, I'm that good. I'm sure every one of you is waiting for us to answer the burning question here today. I mean, the one about how organizations can get my help to create their own AR assistants, not how to deal with ovens burning your dinner. I know this all sounds a bit complex, but I promise it is really easy. To prove it, I'd like to introduce Oded Kanan, our VP product, to take you through a demo. Oded?
Thanks, Eve. I was actually just getting to that. As David had mentioned before, Eve supports very diverse use cases. For the demo today, I selected a consumer-facing router unboxing experience. But again, this could be anything from product registration to insurance FNOL. Building such an application requires two major steps. In the first step, you create the computer vision AI model that will support your use case. Don't worry, you don't need to know anything about AI, as we'll provide you with simple and intuitive tools to do so. And in the second step, using our no-code editor, you'll define and generate the user-facing application. It's important to emphasize that all the capabilities that I will be showing you today are based on the TechC Eve platform, and therefore these end-user facing applications support seamless warm transfer to the live platform. So let's get into it. As you can see, this is our AI Factory web-based application that allows you to create the computer vision AI model. It is the result of more than 5 years of research and development and gives you access to all the unique and patented AI capabilities TechC has developed, including recognition of objects, cables, ports and buttons, LEDs, 7-segment displays like the ones you might have on your washing machine or thermostat, text extraction from screens, remote controls, document understanding, AR capabilities, and much more. Okay, we want to create an AI model for a router. We first create a project and define all the sub-elements that we'd like to train, as well as their possible statuses. Once we've defined these parameters, we can upload a video of the device to be used as the basis for the model. One of the unique features that we've developed at TechC is the short onboarding process of new devices, and the requirement to have only a few short videos to generate the AI model. Let's open the project. Here you can see how we use the first video frame to label the sub-elements that we'd like the model to recognize. AI Factory will do the rest and will automatically track these elements throughout the video clip. In this case, we have 3 LAN ports, 1 DSL port, and a power socket. You can see how AI Factory tracks these objects even when they move in space. At the end of the process, we can review the images and automatic labels generated by AI Factory. As you can see, AI Factory did most of the work by filling in the blanks and generating thousands of training images from these short clips. We can now go over the results and correct the labels, if needed, to make sure that we provide the best training data to create the model. Once we are done, the AI model will be automatically created and become available through a REST API. Now, we've got to the second stage of the process, the generation of the end-user application. For this stage, we are providing your business experts with a simple editor that lets them generate a web-based application for your customers or employees without writing a single line of code. The Visual Journey Editor lets you create workflows with or without using TechC Computer Vision AI. It is pre-integrated with the Eve platform, which provides you with out-of-the-box access to the AI model that you've trained and to a warm transfer to TechC Live. Here, we've already modeled the router unboxing application. Look at the purple nodes. These are the requests from the AI API, and the light purple ones are the processing of these requests and where the workflow determines what to do next. I will now complete the flow by connecting these nodes. By double-clicking a node, we can configure its behavior as well as its look and feel. Let's set the image that will be presented in this step. As you can see, you can immediately see a preview of the screen. Let's also change the button's label. On the left sidebar, you can see all the out-of-the-box capabilities we've developed in the Visual Journey Editor. These include various nodes for presenting data to the user, a seamless transition to Taxi Live, computer vision AI analyzers and scanners, a set of processes that take as input the AI API responses and turn them into decisions. We've also implemented a set of AR nodes to present the data on the screen. Then we have nodes for collecting images either from the customer's camera or phone's gallery. Different nodes for collecting input from the end user, including online forms, text inputs, and selections. As part of the Visual Journey Editor, we are also shipping a generic node for issuing API calls to external systems. These calls can also use the processes I mentioned before to make decisions based on the API responses. And finally, a set of tools that allow you, with a click of a button, to generate the application and publish it. Now, I want to show you how all this ties together. This is a mobile portal that launches the application. Since everything is web-based, for the end user, the application is not more than just a standard link that you can send over email, SMS, QR code, chat, or a web portal. Let's click on the button and launch the application. Note that the application can optionally use audio instructions, which you will hear in a second.
Hello, my name is Eve. How can I help you today? Find the sticker at the bottom of your router.
In the first step, we use our ability to extract relevant textual information. In this case, the device model, serial number, and MAC
The image was
address.
captured properly. I have collected the router information in order to identify your account. On the next screen, I'll ask you to take a picture of the rear panel of your router. Fit the router's rear panel within the viewing frame and tap Capture. Thanks, the image was captured properly. Hold on, I'm analyzing your image. Let's sort out the cables. Tap OK.
Eve is using the single image sent to it to analyze the device and recognize that, first of all, this is the device it was expecting. Then, it identifies all the ports and buttons we trained using the AI factory. It also analyzes each of the ports and determines which of them is connected or not. You can see the connected ones marked green on the image. Eve can handle these unexpected situations and decide to focus only on the non-connected cables.
Find the coax cable, it looks like this. Show me the head of the coax cable and tap Capture. Well done, that's the coax cable. Screw in the coax cable here. Screw in the other end of the coax cable into the wall socket. Please press the power button. Please wait a bit, then point your camera
We
at the
now
front
analyze
panel
the
of
LED
router and
status,
tap Capture.
and as you can see, it can also handle the non-green path and guide the user on how to resolve these situations.
The image was captured properly. Please check that your power cable is properly connected and that the power button is pressed.
And after implementation, Eve Cortex continues to learn and becomes smarter from each and every interaction. The more she does, the better she gets.
We're not done yet, folks. Here to talk about the future of visual self-service is an esteemed panel of leading human industry thought leaders. I'd like to introduce Eric Sheehan, Executive Director, Technology, Systems, and Strategy in Verizon, my good friend and strategic customer. Welcome to Donna Fluss, President of DMG Consulting, LLC, who is an industry expert in IVAs, self-service, and contact center automation. Thanks for being here, Donna. I'd also like to welcome John Carroll, CEO at Service Council, an industry leader in customer service, to give us his view of the role of self-service within field services. Welcome, John. We also have with us Patrice Samuels, Senior Analyst at Parks Associates, who is an expert in smart home products and services. and who will bring us the consumer's view of the technology. Thanks for your time, Patrice. And finally, a warm welcome to Eric Jacobson, VP Product Field Services at Salesforce, a strategic partner of TechSea. Appreciate you joining us, Eric. I think I'll start with you. What opportunities do you see for businesses using computer vision to improve customer service?
Steve, I think there's a lot of opportunity here, especially in our area, my area of expertise around field service. We talk about truck rolls and how do we reduce the need for additional truck rolls, but even truck rolls in that first opportunity there. And so when we can use computer vision technology to enable the customer to solve the problem on their own, we're not only saving that truck roll, we're actually getting the customer satisfaction right off the bat there. So it's a true win-win.
Thanks. Why should a business adopt this technology now?
You know, this past year has truly been groundbreaking and changing for all of us. We never could have predicted a pandemic situation like the world we've been in, but what it's done for us is it's accelerated changes that were already starting to happen. And so the move to being able to embrace technology like computer vision to accelerate customer support, to accelerate self-service support is really foundational there. And I think it is going to be the disruption that everybody needed to accelerate that move and really make this a mainstream technology.
How will it shape relationships between brands and their customers?
For me, this is huge. As I think about every opportunity when a customer has an interaction with a company, that is such a foundational, such a monumental opportunity to be the face of the brand. And so Eve, well, guess what? You're now going to be part of that marketing for companies. You are that opportunity to represent them when their customer is in a time of need. And so use your eyes and your ears and be part of the solution, really making service a great experience for customers around the globe.
Thank you, Eric. Please send my regards to Einstein. I really like him.
We'll be best friends.
Oh, I hope so. Donna, I'm a big fan of yours. As the industry expert who covers IVAs, I'd like to ask you, why is the interest in self-service growing? What's changed in the market?
Really interesting perspective on this kind of stuff, Eve, and you're adding to it by the minute. We all know, and as Eric and everyone else has spoken, the world changed on a dime. It changed the world, it changed the business world, and a lot of the were happening in digital transformation got accelerated, including anything that could go virtual did go virtual, and it did scale. While this was happening, mobility became the preferred method for doing many things, including obtaining customer service. And what customers want when it comes to service is correct, fast, above all else, require as little effort as possible, right? They didn't make the mistake, so why should they have to put the effort into fixing it? For these reasons, customers are increasingly using digital channels, although voice isn't going away anytime soon. Now, finally, self-service, and seemingly out of nowhere, all of a sudden emerged as the preferred way of obtaining help at the same time as people all over the world got accustomed and really expect to use video. So we're seeing a lot of changing dynamics in the world of service with a lot more to come.
Thank you. How can organizations select the right use case for their virtual assistants?
The organizations should find the use cases that are most relevant to their customers. So the uses of IVAs, intelligent virtual assistants, vary greatly by by B2B, B2C. Hexy's solution, for example, uses, as we've seen, it uses video, it uses computer vision, as well as other AI-enabled capabilities to provide what is without a doubt a differentiated customer experience. Now, in terms of finding them, look to your customers and what's going on. I mean, we know, and again, we've heard a lot of this already today, that field service is a great use. Studies have been done in this area, and at least 60% of dispatches aren't necessary, avoided. We also know that there's a lot of really lengthy technical discussions that go on that with pictures, and we already heard a picture's worth a million words, could be avoided. So, you want to look for the type of uses that are first and foremost most beneficial to your customers, and then they're also going to be beneficial to your company, your brand, bottom line.
And finally, what is the role of vision in self-service? What benefits do you see in adding vision to self-service?
There are so many benefits that companies can realize from this. Now, prior to the pandemic, video wasn't a commonplace thing in a contact center. I've been in contact centers that had video studios so that their agents can provide that level of service, and they were pretty lonely. Nowadays, I don't go through a day without having 5 or 6 conversations video. I mean, it's just what we're accustomed to. I mean, could you imagine the power of using this type of technology to help all these parents validate? I mean, just as an example, if their 3rd graders did their homework assignment properly. I mean, we're talking about something that's really revolutionary in the marketplace. Video was around, but it wasn't common. And now it's extremely common, and you combine that with computer vision and other AI-enabled capabilities, and we change the whole world of self-service. We give the consumers, the B2B customers, what it is they want, and there are
Very
so
true.
many benefits.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Donna. That's wonderful. And now, John, I'm so honored to have you here. I love going on trips to the field, so I'm excited to hear how AR assistance can help. What trends is the Service Council tracking with respect to the field service technician? And how can computer vision and AR technologies address them?
Thank you, Eve. The Service Council conducts benchmark research, and one of the annual studies that we conduct is called The Voice of the Field Service Engineer, where we had up roughly 1,000 field technicians that responded to the survey. And there are a couple of overarching trends that sort of popped out of the data. We asked them questions about their day-to-day job, what they would ask management for, what do they spend most of their day doing. And there were 3 overarching trends that sort of spoke to us from the data. One of which is that technician sentiment is particularly low. And there's a couple of causal factors that are driving the sentiment down. So one of which is paperwork and administrative tasks, which are altogether manual and inefficient processes.
Very true.
They're experiencing pressures from both customers and management for faster resolution. There's increased product complexity and technical skill sets required at the point of service. And lastly, the time finding information. And so one of the data points that spoke to us was in the age bracket of 25 to 44, technicians were departing the career at a pace of 60%. They weren't satisfied with their day-to-day role. And so that's further compounded when you take into account the retiring workforce, the silver tsunami, as everyone calls it. And it's leading to a talent shortage and a knowledge exodus. And so service leaders are stating that the biggest challenge they have is capacity planning. How can we meet and achieve customer responsiveness with all of these factors that are impacting availability of skill set, technology, and labor in order to support it? So there's a number of things that are pointing to low sentiment, and we're hearing organizations turn their attention to more of a technician agnostic infrastructure, which is the ability to empower extended labor networks with the capacity shortage. Organizations are turning to gig economy and extended labor networks. And in that scenario, they're empowering them with the same information capabilities and access that their full-time employees have. And of course, this is all pointing towards how can we create an employee effort methodology similar to how we've seen customer satisfaction evolve from CSAT to Net Promoter Score to customer effort. How difficult is it for a customer to seek and receive support? The same thing ought to be happening internally. Certainly, if you subscribe to the theory that employee satisfaction equals customer satisfaction, we need to think about how can we create an easier pathway for our technicians to do their job.
Right. That's very interesting. What are the results of having a technician-centric approach, and how does visual assistance support this initiative?
Well, we just talked about two of them. Technician sentiment is one of them. The second would be how that trickles down into the customer sentiment. But then there's all sorts of efficiency gain opportunities with respect to enabling greater capacity to accept new customers and expand. One of the key initiatives of service leaders is this whole notion of how can we expand on a geographic basis in terms of identifying new customers. And so that's one of the abilities that is enabled through that technician agnostic infrastructure. You know, if you think about the technician sentiment challenge that I was talking about earlier, it can have a really strong impact on customer sentiment. So if you think about a workforce of 500 technicians as an example, one of the data points from the Voice of the Field Service Engineers survey was that 11% weren't proud of their company and wouldn't recommend it as a place to work. This speaks to their dissentiment that I was talking about previously. And so if you take, on average, a technician completing 4 jobs per day, that's 2,000 customer visits if you have a 500 technician workforce. And that means that 200 customers are being impacted by a negative, perhaps negative sentiment at the technician level. So it's completely relevant when you think about the sentiment and how that translates down to the customer level when you're not focused on improving the technician experience.
Right. What other benefits do you see for visual self-service in the light of the market trends?
So we're following 4 key transformations. There's a transformation at the worker level. I talked a little bit about the aging workforce, the emerging workforce that perhaps lacks the skill sets required. So we're seeing a lot of upskilling and reskilling methodologies. Work is changing. I talked a little bit about complexity of technology and complexity of products. The customers' consumerization is starting to blend it, not starting to, it is blending into business to business sectors. So the same experiences we receive and witness in our personal lives, we expect and demand in a business to business setting. So the whole Uberization of service, if you will. And then lastly, we're seeing revenue transformations, which we haven't discussed. And this really ties back to that whole skill set and supplemental skill sets being applied at the technician level. We're hearing some industries think about reinventing the ability for service contracts to offer extended services whereby you can have access to subject matter experts, you can have access to the data and the intelligence that's being captured in an IoT setting, et cetera. And we're also seeing this whole revenue potential growth with respect to how do the skill sets that you're providing at the technician level, how are they translatable to perhaps non-relatable industries, right? So the whole methodology of multi-vendor services, and it's not a new concept, you know, especially if you think about an example like in the healthcare industry. It's not uncommon for Philips Healthcare to be servicing Siemens products, for example. But now we're seeing healthcare industry professionals look outside and you know, in certain industries like industrial manufacturing and automation, you know, some of the mechanical and electrical elements of that job, they're perhaps translatable to other industries. And how can you drive new revenue growth as a result of? So it's an exciting time.
Very true. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. Patrice, looking forward to hearing your unique perspective on how I can help my friends, Siri, Alexa, and other smart devices work with their humans. How do you think my technology can impact the smart home market?
Sure. So when we think about the smart home market, I mean, one of the on a high level, we can see where it would definitely reduce the cost of providing support, right? But it also reduces the cost of owning these products, right? So if we're looking at reducing the cost of support, one of the things we found with smart home devices is that they're still fairly new to consumers. Yes, you do have the early adopters who have, purchased probably 6 smart home products, and you also have the technology innovators who have also, purchased a number of smart home products. The average number of products that they have is probably high. But when we're looking at the mass market, we're seeing where a lot of these consumers do not have smart home devices and they're not familiar with smart home devices. So, the smart home device setup process is a huge leap in terms of technical complexity and difficulty from traditional products. So with your traditional products, you plug it in and you probably have a couple of buttons on the product that you can press to operate the product. Now with a smart home device, plugging it in is really just the very first step. You have to download an app, you have to connect it to a hub, and then you get it connected to your home network, and then you control it using your smartphone. So, it's a number of different steps that goes into the whole setup and getting a smart home device operating, and consumers do need help with this. Now, in the smart home space, another challenge is that a lot of these brands are startup companies, very innovative companies, providing these products to consumers, but they're startups. And for these companies, providing, robust support is cost prohibitive. So if these companies have a solution that can help guide their consumers through the setup process and, help them troubleshoot issues that if those arise during the setup process, then of course that will be really helpful. Now, the other part I mentioned was reducing the cost of ownership of smart home products. Now, one of the things as we've studied this market year over year that we're finding is that consumers do perceive that smart home products are still expensive, right? This is still a major barrier to adoption of these products. Now, if I have to purchase the product and then I have to pay someone to help me set it up because the setup is so complex, a lot of these products like, smart thermostats, smart video doorbells, there's still a lot of wiring involved in getting these products installed and set up and running. So if I'm going to pay someone to help me set up the product, then of course the cost of ownership has now gone up. And that's, of course, another barrier or increasing that barrier then of more consumers adopting more products. So we can definitely see that. Now, on the other side, beyond support, when consumers do need help, we're also seeing a lot of cost reduction opportunities here. A lot of smart home products, they're installed in the home. So it's not like a consumer can, remove this product and take it to a retail help desk, like you would probably your laptop or your smartphone to get support. So a lot of times, in-home support or running a truck is what you have to do to support smart home devices. So having that video solution that can, connect to the consumer and help them with hardware related issues is going to be really helpful in the smart home space and really help to improve, customer experiences, provide them with that faster support that they need and drive that NPS and all those good things to help expand that market.
Very true. The business benefits of implementing video-based support are clear, especially as it relates to lowering the cost of truck rolls. But what are the consumer perspectives?
So our research is also showing that, and this is something we've been covering year over year, even beyond smart home devices, that consumers do prefer to set up their devices themselves and be able to figure out and troubleshoot their issues themselves, right? So with smart home devices in particular, we're seeing where approximately 20% of those consumers who opt to set up their devices themselves report that the process was very difficult, right? So, and this is rating 6 to 7 on a 7-point scale. So we're not even including those people who would rate 5, slightly difficult on that scale. So the process is very difficult. So then we ask these consumers, would you prefer to set up your device next time? And we're still seeing where 65% of consumers are still wanting to set up their devices themselves, even though they know there's that possibility of running into issues. So if there is a solution that can, allow consumers to set up their devices themselves while providing whatever support they may need, that's going to be very helpful. And we know different consumers will need a different level of support. So, just having that tool there in place will improve customer experiences, since this is the preferred method of setting products up to begin with. And when we ask consumers too, what are the different ways in which they prefer to receive support? One of the things that we're seeing is that, we're finding now, which we found was, just one of the most interesting pieces of research recently, is that consumers now prefer to receive video-based support over and above in-home support. And we just asked this question last year, so we're thinking the pandemic had something to do with those results, but regardless, we still found that very interesting that video-based support has now trumped in-home support as a preferred method of receiving support.
Wow, that is interesting. I think I can help. Thank you, Patrice. And finally, you are all waiting to hear him, Eric. We've been friends for a while, and he knows me pretty well. In what area can my computer vision technology have the biggest potential impact at Verizon?
So I think the potential use cases for computer vision are really endless. But when I look at it through the lens of a field services organization, there's sort of, I'd say, three big buckets of opportunity that we're focused on. The first, and probably the most obvious one, is around self-help and providing guidance. And so for our customers, that's either making existing self-help better and more effective by adding in visual assistance, or alternatively, it's allowing us to enable new self-help customer journeys that were just not possible without computer vision. And the same holds true internally for our frontline employees, where we can use computer vision to guide them and make them more effective. The second area of opportunity, I'd say, is around job verification with our field employees. And the way we're sort of thinking about this is computer vision is an automated way for us to confirm adherence to quality and safety standards. And it also allows us to toll gate various stages of a job, so we can automate actions and drive efficiencies that way. And then the third opportunity, I'd say, is very similar to how Stop and Shop uses the Marty robot to identify, hey, cleanup is needed on aisle 7. But in our space, that means really leveraging computer vision to automate the remediation of issues that our field teams sort of passively encounter, but might not identify and document through the normal course of business. So those are kind of the big buckets for field operations. But again, I think the opportunities really span all facets of the business.
Thank you, Eric. What barriers or challenges do you see in implementing computer vision today?
I think up to this point, I think there's probably been three sort of key challenges impacting the technology. The first is really foundational, and that is that training computer vision models to recognize objects has historically had a fairly high level of effort. And at one point, training a model required thousands of pitches. So that created a barrier around cost and scalability. But now the technology is to the point where you can train those models in just kind of a fraction of the time. So because of that evolution, that problem is becoming less of an obstacle. The second challenge, I'd say, is, now that you have those models trained, how do you integrate them into the customer journey in an elegant way? And to this point, there just hasn't been a simple kind of cost-effective way to do that. However, now, we are starting to see functionality introduced where you can easily create and modify those customer journeys simply by pointing and clicking. So that type of sandbox environment, I think, is a game changer when it comes to ease of integration. And the last thing I'd say is, now that we're pulling in all of this kind of visual information, how do you store it? How do you protect it? And what do you do with it? And so that kind of gets into the whole security and privacy conversation. And even though we do have things like human form filtering and different redaction techniques that help to sort of address those concerns, I do think as we go forward, a lot of those questions around security and privacy will continue to be areas of concern, not just with computer vision, but with AI in general.
Right. What is your recommendation for organizations who are considering adding computer vision capabilities to their service offering?
Yeah, look, I think it's a great question. I think I saw some questions in the chat on this as well, because a lot of times what you see is we see sort of over exuberance where that kind of surrounds new technology. And that's just kind of due to the promise and potential that a new technology brings. The problem with that, and I think we saw a lot of this in the virtual reality space, is people implement it just because the technology is cool and different. And so my recommendation is you have to be pragmatic. Start by focusing on the problem and not on what you might want the solution to be. And to do that, my suggestion is to look at those kind of key initiatives you're already working on, see if there are areas where visual analysis would sort of help solve a problem or would make something better. And then once you identify those, pick sort of a handful of really simple, low cost, low effort ones, and use that as an opportunity to sort of kick the tires on the technology to see if the numbers work out, and be ready to pivot if they don't. The key point is don't try to force the technology as the right solution. Use a kind of a practical ROI analysis as sort of your North Star, when you're making a decision on the technology.
Wonderful, Eric. Thank you so much. Thank you all. And now we've got a few minutes to address some questions from our human audience. If you haven't yet, submit any questions you have for me, my team of humans, or our amazing panel of industry thought humans. First question. This comes from Katieka Verma. Apologies if I didn't say that right. I'm curious to know, what is the success rate of Eve Cortex? And what are the skills needed to train Eve Cortex?
Okay, so as you probably know, every AI-based application relies heavily on the amount of data that it can train on. In the case of Eve Cortex, after initial onboarding of a new device, we start off at around 80 to 85% of accuracy. And since the application itself is machine learning based, so we improve with time. So for example, with the telecom example that David has shown before, we started off with around 80%, and within a few weeks, we got to around 98% of accuracy.
Thank you, Oded. Yvonne asks, can Eve integrate with any camera or needs Texi to front end this visual capture?
So one of the interesting aspects and the core and fundamental design criteria that we put for Eve was that everything is an API, basically. So you can use the visual journey editor and the visual journeys that I presented before in the demo, but you can also develop your own application and just use your own camera, it can be, by the way, a native application, a web-based application, any type of application on any platform, and just call our APIs to actually analyze the images and get the results.
Excellent. Michael asks, can this tool be used in large, medium, small call centers to augment agent interaction? And are you actively marketing to the call center industry?
David, you're on mute.
Yep, I'll take the one. Thanks, Oded. Absolutely, great question. Contact centers are a very important audience for us, both in terms of our installed base and where we see the evolution of the technology. The piece that, and it's a great question, Michael, you brought the two sides of our solution together. We've got remote visual support, we've got automation, and bringing that technology into the service of agent assist is a really important advancement. It's not about just displacing or replacing agent interactions, it's about helping them do their jobs better. So that's a critical piece of how we see this evolving and how Eve Cortex, we think, will help our clients and their customers.
Thank you, David. Manny asks, any specific use cases on computer vision that our panelists feel would be really enriched with 5G becoming reality? What can we look forward to from the platform with 5G coming on board?
I could give an example of one case that we have now that we're in the process of doing, and the best way to kind of explain that is, if you think about a mail carrier as an example that's going through every day and they're delivering mail, and as they're driving around, they have computer vision cameras that identify potholes as an example. And when the computer vision identifies a pothole, it sends that information to the DPW to have it remediated. So we have a lot of cases like that in the telecom space that we're looking at that 5G would help. Obviously, self-driving cars with lower latency, I think, is another potential area of opportunity where 5G, I think, would help.
That's all the questions we have time for today. Thank you, Eric. So there you have it, folks. The future of customer service is here, and it's visual. It was great meeting you all, and I hope this event was eye-opening. For those of you who'd like an intimate meeting with me, to get to know me better, wink, wink, you can schedule a personalized demo with my team of humans. Bye for now.